Wendy Williams has made it clear she wants to be released from her guardian so she can go to Florida to live with her family. However, her guardian and a so-called attorney are fighting her wishes and want to keep her locked away from her family and loved ones. Now, Meek Mill has come out in defense of Wendy. Meek Mill gives sad news about Wendy Williams. The courts placed Wendy Williams in a conservatorship and issued her a legal guardian. After this happened, Wendy's finances ended up frozen, and now her guardian says she is broke. She still lives in a luxury long-term care facility, but according to rapper Meek Mill, Wendy appears isolated from everyone. Meek Mill has now come out and made some comments about Wendy Williams and his ideas on her guardianship. The rapper has made it clear that he is on Wendy's side and that the guardian is not helping the popular former daytime talk show host. Meek said he lived in the same building as Wendy in 2023, and he would often see her sitting alone in the lobby. He also shared a photo of Wendy and said that she was always alone, sitting on a bench. He said she seemed at times to be in a daze, but there was no one around her. I used to think to myself like, Witty is Wendy Williams sitting in the lobby iced out alone in a daze, Meek wrote, and it doesn't look right when she gets picked up by God. Via TMZ. Meek made this response after TMZ shared a clip from the upcoming Tubi documentary Save Wendy. In the clip, Wendy was emotional about not getting to visit her father in Florida on his 94th birthday. Save Wendy premieres on February 12 on Tubi. Wendy Williams wants to go back to Florida. Wendy Williams is in a battle for her freedom from her guardian. She wants to move to Florida to be closer to her family. According to Williams and her family, her guardian isolated Wendy and kept her away from all her family and friends since taking over her affairs. The good news is that a judge ruled that Wendy can travel to Florida to see her father on his birthday. Meanwhile, her family has hired an attorney with money raised in a GoFundMe campaign to fight for her freedom. Meek Mill joins Lunel, Don Lemon, and Charlemagne the God in spreading the word about Wendy to the masses. What are your thoughts on Wendy Williams reportedly being isolated from her friends and family? Do you think she will find her way back home with her family? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Wendy Williams' fight for freedom. Meek Mill and supporters rally as she battles guardianship to reunite with family in Florida. Wendy Williams, the once vibrant queen of daytime talk, is locked in a fierce struggle to break free from a court-ordered conservatorship that she says has turned her life into a gilded cage. The 60-year-old former host of The Wendy Williams Show has made it abundantly clear she wants out of New York, out from under her guardian's control, and back to Florida to live surrounded by her family. But her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, and a legal team she's labeled as dubious are pushing back, determined to keep her isolated in a luxury long-term care facility. Now, rapper Meek Mill has stepped into the fray, joining a growing chorus of celebrities amplifying Wendy's plea for freedom. The saga took a poignant turn with the release of a teaser for TMZ Presents Save Wendy, a documentary premiering on Tubi on February 12, 2025. In the clip, Wendy's voice cracks with emotion as she laments missing her father's 94th birthday in Florida, a stark illustration of the isolation she claims her guardianship imposes. That vulnerability struck a chord with Meek Mill, who didn't hesitate to speak out. I lived in the same building as her in 2023, he wrote on X, alongside a photo of Wendy sitting alone on a lobby bench, adorned with jewelry but seemingly adrift. I used to think to myself like, why is Wendy Williams sitting in the lobby iced out alone in a daze? And it don't look right when she getting picked up on God. His raw observation, typos and all, paints a haunting picture of a woman once larger than life, now reduced to a solitary figure under watch. Wendy's conservatorship began in 2022, when Wells Fargo froze her accounts, alleging she was incapacitated and vulnerable to financial exploitation. A New York court appointed Morrissey, an elder law attorney, as her guardian, stripping Wendy of control over her finances and much of her autonomy. What followed was a spiral that saw her iconic talk show end after 14 years. Her health declined publicly. She's been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia, and her personal life shrouded in mystery. Her guardian claims she's broke, despite her years of earning millions, yet she remains in a high-end care facility. To Wendy and her supporters, it's a paradox that reeks of mismanagement. Her family, led by her son Kevin Hunter Jr., sister Wanda, and niece Alex Finney, has been vocal about the toll has severed Wendy's ties to loved ones, barring visitors and restricting communication. She can call out, but no one can call in. "I feel like I'm in prison," Wendy told The Breakfast Club in January 2025, her first major interview in years. "I'm not cognitively impaired, you know what I'm saying." Her lucid, fiery delivery belied the official narrative of incapacity, fueling the hashtag Free Wendy movement. A GoFundMe campaign, Support Wendy Williams' Fight for Independence, has raised over $38,000 as of March 2025 to fund legal efforts to bring her home to Florida, where her family waits. Meek Mill's support adds a high-profile voice to a roster that includes comedian Lunel, journalist Don Lemon, and radio host Charlamagne Tha God, a former colleague from Wendy's radio days. Meek's first-hand account from 2023, spotting her alone, iced out yet dazed, echoes Wendy's own descriptions of her life. "I've been outside twice in the last 30 days, she told TMZ's Harvey Levin in the Save Wendy doc, filmed via a clever workaround with a camera peering through her window. "I eat in my room because it's so goddamn depressing out there with the 90-year-olds. The image of a woman who once commanded stages and airwaves, now confined to a fifth-floor room, has galvanized her defenders. The good news? A judge recently granted Wendy permission to travel to Florida for her father's birthday, a small victory after months of anguish over missing it. But her family wants more than supervised visits, they want her back for good. With funds from the GoFundMe, they've hired attorneys from Schwartz, Slackus, Reach, Greenberg, Atlas LLP to challenge the guardianship. Wendy's family is passionately advocating for her return to Florida, where she can once again be surrounded by the love and support of those who care about her. The campaign reads, "They are suffering emotionally as they witness the toll her isolation is taking. The opposition isn't backing down." Morrissey, managing 24 guardianship cases, told Vanity Fair in March 2025 that she's a fiduciary bound to act in Wendy's best interest, dismissing some of her media outbursts as scripted. She suggested a new medical evaluation, standing firm on the dementia diagnosis despite Wendy's insistence she's unimpaired. The Guardian's camp points to Kevin Jr.'s alleged overspending as the trigger for the bank's initial action, a claim he denies, casting the family as unreliable. It's a legal tug-of-war with Wendy's freedom hanging in the balance. Public sentiment is tilting heavily toward Wendy. Meek's post racked up thousands of likes, with fans on X echoing his unease. "Heartbreaking. Wendy built an empire, and now she's trapped," one wrote. Another mused, "Meek saw what we all suspect, something's off." The Save Wendy doc, streaming free on Tubi, promises to peel back more layers, featuring interviews with Alex Finney, neurologist, and Wendy herself. It's a clarion call for a woman who once asked America, "How you doing?" and now pleads for the chance to answer that question surrounded by family. What do you think of Wendy Williams' reported isolation and Meek Mill's defense of her? Will she win her fight to return to Florida, or is the guardianship too entrenched? Share your thoughts in the comments below as this saga unfolds, with hope flickering for a talk show legend longing for home.